Spike, also in Split Decision, you talk a lot about your feelings of guilt. And I wanted you to explain what was that process of dealing with your own guilt and your own grief for not only the damage you caused during the lick gone wrong, but because of what's happening to your family and the loss that you had, the loss that they had. How did you process and deal with the levels and layers of guilt?
The only way I can deal with it is getting my spiritual life together with God and allowing him to get closer to him. But inside, I still had this guilt because there were people passing away. I couldn't even go to funerals. I didn't even have anything to help my daughter. Her mother had to raise her, according to how they were living while I was in jail. My mother ended up getting Alzheimer's, the closest person to me. And I couldn't help her. I wasn't even there to even comfort her through those different transitions she had to go through, that dementia and all those things do. My brothers, one brother died, the other brother got murdered, my oldest brother. So here I am, not only watching calendars go by, but I'm still stuck in here not knowing if I'm ever coming home. And I know that my family needed me and I let them down big time. Not only did I let them down, I let myself down, because I knew deep down inside when I reflected that I should become my mother's son again. Through that change, I realized there was still a price to pay. And there were certain things, once you go down that dark street and you catch a life sentence, no matter what happens, you have to deal with and accept that you caused this hurt and this pain at the expense of other people. And it's not only society, but the people that love you. The people, my daughter, my mother, my grandmother's deathbed, she wrote me a letter. And in that letter, she was asking God, first she asked God, to watch over me and change me. And then she put herself into that second phase of the letter. She's like, God, she's dying on her deathbed in the hospital. By the time I got that letter, my grandmother had passed. And it was the first and only letter I got from her. And when I opened it, I'm in that cold, dark cell. And all I could do when I saw it, first I saw her name and I was like, whoa, my grandmother wrote me. This is somebody in my neighborhood who I lived in the Harlem 30 neighborhood, and all the OGs and people, my oldest brother, they respected her. But this lady, out of 40-something grandchildren, she reached out to me on her deathbed. And you can see the handwriting was almost like childlike, like she only had enough strength to write this 3-pager. And as I read it, it was like I'd never felt tears that big. I could feel the tears bouncing off my chest and hitting my legs. I was like, my grandmother, and then realized she's gone. So all that's the guilt, because I never, like I said, we don't rationalize when we go hit licks and we do things. We don't rationalize, man, if you do this, you're going to lose your mother, your grandmother, your father, I lost 90% of my family. But I chose that through my actions, and I'm always haunted by that.
Yeah, well, that's very powerful, Spike. And throughout Split Decision, there is a lot of talk about a lot of loss. And Ice, one of the powerful things that you talked about was when Vic died, Beatmaster V, and how you don't like going to funerals, but you went to his and you actually cried. And that was the first time people around you had ever seen you cry. So why did you go, and why did it hit you in a way that you were able to show?
Well, Vic was in his 30s, man. And Vic was athletic. Spike will tell you, Spike was very athletic, and Vic was very athletic, in shape, looked like bodybuilders working out. And then I get a call, they say Vic got leukemia. Cancer is something you don't see. You don't see. You know somebody got shot. If you got a broken leg, but cancer, like, I don't see it. Where is it? And what kind of pissed me off about Vic's death was a lot of people were telling him, oh, go holistic and not do this and not do that. And I was telling him, dude, you got some money, check in where the rich people check in, go to a cancer center, and let's spend this money and get you back. People had brainwashed him into thinking that, there's people out there that'll tell you the hospital is out to hurt you, that it's a ripoff. There's people out there like that, Soren, full of shit. And Spike works in a hospital right now. Hospitals are trying to save your life. All right. So, but Vic went the wrong way. And I remember we were doing a show in Belgium. We had a sold out concert, Body Count. And we had a doctor that was checking Vic's blood. And the guy came back and he said, he's technically dead. Like his blood count is so far off. So I canceled the show with a packed house. The press dug us out. They ripped us, called us all kinds of pussies and shit because we just said our drummer was sick. We didn't say cancer. Within a year of him being diagnosed, he passed away. And I was kind of mad I was not only hurt at the funeral, I was angry because I knew a lot of those people that told him not to take care of himself were in that room and they weren't laying in that coffin. And yeah, it was real tears. It was the homie, you know, like so young, so vibrantly healthy, dead. And that was one of the first people I ever had die of natural causes. I was used to people in the game getting shot. This person got killed because that's the life they chose. You in the life, this comes with it. But for him, he wasn't doing nothing wrong. He was in a band. He was on his way. It killed me. And the reason I don't go to funerals, I never went to my mother's funeral. I never went to my father's funeral. I've gone to different funerals on occasions. I just went to Biz Marquis's funeral. But I definitely don't view the body. I don't, because I don't want to, I want the last memory of you to be alive, not sitting in a coffin. I don't want to see that. I don't want that stamped into my brain. And that's just how I deal with it. You know, I don't, it's not disrespect. It's just that whole ceremony to me is a little heavy for me. You know, I guess dealing with death so early in my life. You know, I always say funerals and marriages, both the same people show up, you know. might be saying something about a marriage, but yeah, you know, yeah, that's the reason. It was just a death that I wasn't prepared for, and somebody so young, you know, and really just at the beginning of his life, like we were taking off. Like, but Body Count is still boom. Vic should be on tour with us right now, you know.
Right. Yeah. And that's something that Spike was able to see from inside. And in Split Decision, Spike, you talk about being able to see Ice's success from a distance. And I wanted you to break down, understand the motivation and the inspiration, but you also talk about in Split Decision how Ice's success gave you courage. So I wanted you to explain, how did Ice's success give you courage and what did that mean to you?
Well, the mixed emotions were, here I am, I got this person that's like a brother to me. And I see that through those years of me being gone, and I'm seeing him on television, and I'm seeing him, his music is doing very well. I realized that the course that he had took, and he's still going, I'm like, man, you know, I wanted to be in that position. But I sat in that jail and I sat in that prison, and I realized, you know, I got to get myself together. And so Ice encouraged me, you know, at the end of the day, we know that money couldn't get me out of there. He's like, just get your ducks in line. And because I knew that, you know, from his life story, he had challenges growing up by himself, you know, without a mother and a father at the age, you know, he was as a young person. And for God to bless him like that, I'm like, you know, at least I can do, even if I'm not coming home, is to better myself. So I started going and getting back in school. I started seeking the self-help. So I started helping young kids. I started doing all that because that was part of the change. And he encouraged me that, you know, that I could change, I could be a better person. And so I took what he went through, and then because I would tell the story to the kids without mentioning his name. I would have this close person who lived like we had the same lives, almost identical. And at the end of the day, he's out there, you know, thriving because he made the right choices. Me, I made the bad choices. And I would tell those kids, don't be me. You know, you have dreams, you have hopes. You know, all of us wanted to be firemen, veterinarians, doctors, whatever it was when we were kids. Somewhere online, I dropped the ball. But now I have courage because now I'm like, here I am, and I'm still able. God bless me to still be able to even have a number on him. Like most of my family couldn't even help me. So I was in this abyss, a lone abyss. And then when LP gave Ice that headset, and Ice told me, back in the family, you never cross me, just stay the course. Let me know when you get close, and I'll be there for you. I drove harder. Like I dug in. The players and gang members that also have life sentences, they're like, why are you going to AA? Why are you going to NA? Why you got that little folder in your hand? I wouldn't even waste time to explain to them. I was like that Tomahawk missile going straight into that chapel, to go to that church, to go to the CGA and AVP and restorative justice. I stayed the course, got back in college. All those that hope that God gave me came through Ice's words, like, hey, just stay the course, but get your ducks in line. And I did. I was like, well, this is it. I have to hit a lick for my life.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
It will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Back with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.